The first story is about my mom's close friend. Her husband was a politician, so he traveled a lot, but one day his wife had a bad feeling and kept telling him, "Don't travel to this town." At first he insisted it's work, he has to go, but when he saw how worried she was he cancelled. But on the morning of the meeting he suddenly told her he was going to the airport, he couldn't miss the meeting. He was late and a random guy at the airport kept trying to get his attention and telling him not to get on the plane, but he refused and his wife was like, "Listen to the man," but he said no and got in. Less than 20 minutes after the plane took off it crashed. He was the last person to get on the plane and the first body they found. My mom was the one that broke the news to her friend. She says she still feels terrible about it because she didn't know, as the friend had told her the husband had cancelled his trip. The second story is about my aunt and her husband. He once in a while goes to visit his stepkids, and she had no issues with this, but his last trip she kept telling him to wait and not go. He waited, but something came up with his stepkids and he had to go suddenly. She was still against, but he still went. 3 days later his stepkids called to tell her husband had died, but how he died was a bit sketchy. He was healthy before he left, and then suddenly he had really bad stomach ache after eating, and then died? Also someone close to them gossiped that his stepkids actually laughed at him till he took his last breath and refused to call an ambulance or take him to the hospital, saying he deserved it for giving his other kids more attention. His last words before he died was, "Please let me talk to my son. That's my aunt's son," and they just laughed and said no. What's worse was they called my cousin and told him about it, mocking him, and did I mention they left his dead body there for 2 days? It wasn't until a neighbor found out and yelled at them that they even tried to do something. Their excuse was they couldn't find anything to wrap the dead body, so they were gonna leave it there till they did. 2 of his stepsons didn't even attend the funeral, and the other one who went didn't even seem remorseful, and a week later they came, and they seemed way too happy for someone who was grieving for someone they claimed to have loved. The first story is about my mom's friend who told her husband not to travel because she had a bad feeling, and he ended up dying in a plane crash. The second story is about my aunt's husband who possibly got killed or just a coincidental death after she also insisted he shouldn't travel.